Welcome to the Hockey Writers Inc., the show where the writers are fresh off the presses and the ink is not dry. The mic has gone past warm as Lance and Steele welcome the guys from O B Puckcast on the show to celebrate the century mark. Get all the inside information on how O B Puck came to be and how the guys got together to form a force in podcasting world for the Flyers.
Welcome back to another edition of the Hockey Writers Inc. I'm your host, Lance Green, my co-host.
That's right, and I'm your co-host, Steele Flyers. How you doing, Lance?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Oh, man, I'm doing great. Boy, oh, boy. We got a couple guys here with us, don't we?
We do indeed.
How about that? We got the boys from O B Puckcast have decided to drop in. And how about that, ladies and gentlemen? So we got the main man, Isaiah. How you doing, brother?
Okay.
All right. And we got Chef to the left. How you doing, Chef?
Very good, thank you.
All right, cool. Great to have you guys on, man. One of the reasons why we wanted to have you guys on is we wanted to congratulate you guys and give you the official Hockey Writers Inc. salute for your 100th episode. And so, yeah, man, definitely big props for that. So congratulations on that. Also, teaming up with Flyers Nitty Gritty. That was another big move for you guys too. That was a great move for you guys and was able to help propel you guys with a little bit more viewership and more, exposure and things of that nature. Not that you guys need any help because, I mean, I look to you guys as the standard. So we're going to get into a couple questions here for you. So I hope you guys don't mind.
Sure, fire away.
All right, good deal. Lance, you want to start us off first?
Sure, we can. We'll go with Isaiah as the founder of the show. How long ago did you get started, and was Chef part of the original crew?
Yeah, well, we started with the in the summer of 2017?
Yeah, somewhere around there, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that I noticed some of the other podcasts that were available at that time, and there was a, I guess, fancy word, paucity of hockey talk on terrestrial radio. And I also felt like I had opinions and I would talk to Chef about stuff, and we had come to certain conclusions about the team before we would hear them on other podcasts, on terrestrial radio. And it's like, wait a minute, I thought about that. I thought the same thing a couple of weeks ago. So what had happened is that Chef had been on the radio. He'd been with the podcast. He had experience. He was a big Flyers fan. I've been following the team up to that point, I guess, almost 50 years. Now it's over 50 years. And Chef almost, almost 40 years at that point. Yeah. So I just asked him if I wanted to do this, and if he wanted to come with me. He was the first guy that popped into my mind, and he said, "Yeah, let's do it." And we recorded our first episode. It sounds like Mickey Mouse compared to what we do now, but I bought a book, How to Podcast, literally How to Podcast, by Paul Colligan. I am not tech savvy. I'm not horrible, but I'm nothing great. And we made it work.
Yeah, man. I'll say you guys made it work. For 100 shows, you've made it work. I mean, you can't go wrong with that, right? So Chef, tell us, how did you get involved with Isaiah and O&B, man? What? I mean, now we heard that he kind of approached you, you know what I mean? But what was it that kind of what brought you in? What got you involved?
Well, it's funny. But before we started recording, we had talked about how you had mentioned that you appreciate our podcast because we focus more on like the actual hockey itself instead of non-whimsical stuff that pop up here and there, which on their own right is fine. But so at the time I was with another guy. We were doing an all sports podcast. It started off on the radio as a local AM radio in Levittown, but
oh wow, nice.
And I was with him, and I kind of like said to myself, I kind of want to just stick to the sports part of it. I didn't want, I guess the Howard Stern quality to it, and not that there's anything wrong with that, but I just felt like we were always better when we concentrated on the sports. Whether we goofed around a little bit with the sports, that's one thing, but so I literally quit that, and I said, okay, I'm going to take a little bit of break. 3 days later, literally 3 days later, Isaiah, who goes back, it's Mrs. Chef and Isaiah were friends growing up.
Okay, there's the connection.
Yeah, and she had said, "Hey, talk to Mark. He was wondering if maybe you'd be interested in doing a podcast with him." So I talked to Mark or Isaiah, I'm sorry, and we're like, "Oh yeah." He goes, strictly hockey, and hockey was my passion. That's what we kind of specialized because it was a handicap show, so I knew more about the Flyers and just by growing up, and even more focused on that. So that's where it started.
Awesome. That's great, man. All right, what you think, man? What do you think, Lance?
Yeah, let's see. We'll go with. Have you ever had some turnover during the 100 shows, and running with other people as well that aren't currently there? I know you with other people as well that aren't currently there. I know you got Dan with you now, Silver and all. So how'd you guys hook up there with him?
Well, I mean, we were together and we would have guests on, and we had people that recur on the show from time to time now as guests, like Kevin Fortier, who was with Phileas Flyer back at that time. And he's a good guy. Yeah. I still talk to Kevin. He's got a lot of things going on. And then finally we had Dan, the Flyer fan. And then he got to a point where he was with his own venture, Brotherly Puck and Brotherly Pod and National Pod and all that kind of stuff. And he was kind of so into that, when we got a chance to bring aboard Dan Silver of the Getting Bullied podcast, as that kind of faded out, we just decided that Dan Esch was going to kind of do his thing, and Dan Silver was going to pop in and be like the prospect guy, general knowledge guy, 30 years following the team. So now we got 50, 40, 30, a nice stack of different generational Flyers fans' opinions. And I think we have the strongest lineup that we've ever had right now.
Good deal.
Man, I couldn't disagree with you more on that one, man. I think you guys definitely have the strongest lineup, because I listened to you guys when you started with Dan, the Flyers fan, right? And I thought those shows were really good. But when you guys brought Dan Silver on, I really liked his different points of views. I might not necessarily agree with them, okay, but I do like the fact that he thinks outside the box sometimes on certain things. You know what I mean? And he does give your show that other element of, you have a different generational gap of expertise, and he has a different kind of viewpoint of things compared to the viewpoints that both of you guys have. You know what I mean? So really appreciate that. So
yeah, but just one thing though, if I could say about Dan the Flyer fan, Dan is also more of a host, and he's got more talent than either Chef and I. I always tell Dan that, he's just a natural, and he should be doing it, making like six figures in a couple of years, because he's just dynamite. So I can't say enough good things about Dan the Flyer fan. It's in terms of his talent.
Oh yeah.
And he's not for everybody, his style and all that, but I'm a big fan of his.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I wasn't trying to say anything indifferent or anything like that. It's just I was able to listen to both Dan being on, and then the Flyer fan, and then Dan Silver being on. You know what I mean? And so I appreciated both sides of that different perspective. You know what I mean? So, all right. Well, I guess you guys already kind of touched on this a little bit here, but I guess because Chef, you said that your wife kind of knew Isaiah. So how did you guys end up meeting? Like, I mean, was that how you guys met? Was through your wife and him, or is that how that?
Yeah, that's pretty much how how it rolled out. Me and my wife started dating. Oh wow, it'd be 21, 22 years ago, and I think when was one of our barbecues. Probably that's when I probably first met Isaiah. And the thing is, I was a chef for, I've been in the business since 1983. Just recently walked away from it, but and my wife, at the time, she was a bartender, so she would man the bar. I would cook the food, and we would have like 100 people over at our barbecue. It's legendary. I mean, huge deck outside. We had the pool.
Nice.
It was a good time, and me, I met Isaiah there, and we kind of just hit it off because he's a sports guy too, and he, on touching even more. I'm not necessarily a big stat guy. Mark knows more of the old school guys and the history behind it. I'm more of like a feel and a feeling, and Dan is basically the stat guy. So I think we have a system that complements each other, and I think that's why it works well together.
Couldn't agree with you more. Couldn't agree with you more.
Nice. So, Chef, we'll go back to you for one question here. It's a big thing with our show as well. Now, Steele, he was a chef for many years, and I'm a big foodie and like to cook. I just made some filet mignon and stuff up with some scallops tonight, for that matter. But what's your favorite dish to make if you had to make one?
My favorite dish, I guess, if I was going to go in a line at like a style, I would say Southwest. But
Okay.
I'd have to go with along if it was going to be my not necessarily my favorite dish, but it was my mom's, God rest her soul, and my wife. I have this shrimp scampi, and that's all they ever talked about. It's like one of those things I only break out like a couple times a year, but still has that that wow factor. So when you're eating it, so that's what if I had to go with my favorite thing to watch, because I'm more of like I like to see that. See the smile on their faces and stuff like that. When I was doing the chef, we would do these 5-course tasting dinners, and that was my favorite part of the job, because you could get creative, you could do all these things, and the reward was seeing everybody enjoying your food.
Definitely, that's what I like when I make stuff. So,
Yeah, let me tell you something, boy. Lance, he does all right, boy. He does all right for being
an amateur, yeah.
for being a foodie. Right, like all the texts that I get back and forth with him on some of the food that he does is just I'm impressed. So that
you can go on Instagram and find Chef the Left Bee. Just keep looking for that old logo that I used to have, and there's a lot of food pics on there, and a lot of like menus from all the tastings. So I leave them up because it's part of who I am, to who I am, and I think you just sit there and go, wow, that looks pretty cool. Some of them came up great, some of them but it's fun to go back and reminisce now.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. I'm definitely with you on that, because I've put portfolios together too of some of the food that I've done. I've had the opportunity to work in the islands and stuff like that, and some 5-star, 5-diamond places. And I was a private chef for a little while too there. And so I've had some great blessings with where I've been able to cook and who I've been able to cook with and things like that. So yeah, I leave my stuff up to whenever it's out there, and I don't have any problems posting pictures of my food. No problems at all.
You guys, I'm at the complete opposite end of the continuum when it comes to I eat about 7 things. I can only cook about 3 of them.
Oh, well, that's okay, man. You can go to Jim's, right, and get a sub or get a
Jim
sandwich.
South Street, 400 South Street, sponsor of
Flyers Nitty Gritty, yeah.
Right. Right. You like that? See, now there's a reason why I said that, because with all the changes and everything that's been going on, Isaiah, this year and all that, you guys decided to partner with flyersnittygritty.com. I mean, I get it. We all sort of owe a little something to Jamey and the crew at Flyers Nitty Gritty. But why the move?
Well, we had been with a national outlet, the fourthperiod.com. And prior to that, we were with Philly Sports Network, and we had developed a relationship where Jamey was back with PSN, and we had an event where Chef used to be at Steam Pub, and we actually met Jamey. We actually met him, Brooke Destra, who's now with NBC Sports Philly, Alex McIntyre, who I think is still with PSN and does some other stuff for photography. And so we had a nice event there.
Reef was there too.
Yeah, Reef was there. Yeah, that's right.
Ryan Boyd.
Okay.
Yeah,
right. We had a big crowd. I was shocked.
Yeah, and then we had the guy that walked out on us, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah, that's true. But that's story for another time.
Yeah, story for another day. Anyway, so we had a relationship with Jamey. He's like, everybody, if to know Jamey is to love Jamey. He's a great guy. He's just one of those amiable guys. Who's always thinking of somebody else, and very a giving person, a great guy. So when he got his own thing going, much to our surprise, because he seemed really, welded in at PSN, but whatever happened, happened. And we were running out of our deal with the fourth period. We said, this is a perfect marriage. That he offered some things in terms of, credentials and things. And plus we knew how dedicated he was. And it was his operation. We had an idea what he was trying to do. And I knew Yariv. He's kind of like the technical guy. So when we expand into different things, we're going to have different resources. And because I'm technically not the best. And, so it just seemed to fit, dovetail very nicely with what we want to do and where they're going, where they're situated.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I think it's a good combination. I like the mix with what you guys do, and with being under the umbrella of the Flyers Nitty Gritty group. I think Lance is also part of that, huge family, and I've also been welcomed into as well into that with open arms, into that, group of people that are, trying to bring, the best that we can as far as dealing with Flyers hockey and things of that nature, you know what I mean? And we're all trying to expand everybody else's brand, you know what I mean? So we're here to promote O B Puck, right? So we're here to promote Flyers Nitty Gritty. We're here to promote Hockey Writers Inc. We're here to promote Steel Flyers. We're here to, you know what I mean? That's what this is all about. We're trying to create this community, and this is exactly some of the stuff that me and Jamey talked about, was creating this community of these people that are bringing out the truth in sports, the truth in broadcasting, the truth in reporting, and just trying to get everything out there. You know what I mean? So I think that's a great mix for you guys. I look forward to listening to the show, every single time you guys tease me with, okay, our next show will be out on Tuesday. You send that out on Wednesday. Wait, no, I gotta wait 6 days. What?
Well, we wanted a little bit more time. We wanted a couple games to get in there, and you had asked us to do this, so we figured, well, this kind of counts as a mini show. So you get a little taste until Wednesday, then you can check it out then.
Right.
Plus, we don't want to overanalyze. Yeah, well, that play, the coverage was because of this guy and that guy.
Oh, watch that voice. I got in trouble at the other radio station for using that.
Yeah. I didn't know I was imitating anybody.
Yeah, it started to sound like a football, guy that we all know. And that's another story. I'll tell you off radio. I'll tell you about that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I was just I don't like talking about my new show. We just like to have enough separation, unless it's a trade or a big story. Because we could talk about Couture's injury, but how much can you talk about it, right? So it's
not a whole lot known about it right now. Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's rib separation near his shoulder and collarbone or whatever, and some guy looks at injuries and said, yeah, well, they're saying a minimum 2 weeks, but it's probably more like 4 to 6 weeks or 8 weeks.
I think,
who knows, right? But if there's not a lot going on, why make stuff up? I mean, let the games play out. Let's talk about the action, and that's why we don't come at you with the game, with a show like every 2 games or something like that. That's Jason Martinez. That's what he does. He comes in every day, gives you a little 20-minute hit, and that's good. What we do is we back it up. We're the voice of the fan. We talk about the kind of stuff that people we'll talk about in a bar or something when we don't have to wear masks and be 18 feet apart, and we'll get back to that one day. So that's kind of where we're coming from. So plus we knew we were coming to see you guys, like Chef said.
Yeah, man. Appreciate that, man, for sure, because that's what we try to do here at Hockey Writers Inc. It's all about trying to promote Lance's articles, because to me, Lance is one of the few writers that I actually read. Okay. I mean, I look forward to the articles that Lance puts out because it's researched, it's grammatically correct, it's not lazily just thrown out there for clickbait. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of thought and a lot of information that goes in behind his articles. And that's why I like those articles. And that's why we did this. We created this whole Hockey Writers Inc.
I definitely pay him to say that. Okay. Yeah. I work a couple overtimes. He throws that in once in a while. It's
nice. No, you don't. No, you don't.
Well, Lance, you played the game, right?
Yeah, I did. Ever since I was 5 or 6 years old, I've been a goalie, and ever since I kind of blew my knees out a little bit, and towards the end of high school, before getting some college offers coming in, I now play out, in men's leagues and for different functions as well, playing defense, offense, whatever. It doesn't matter. I just can't take a face off to save my life. Other than that, I'm good.
Yeah. That was a street hockey club myself.
Okay. All right.
That was it. That was as high as I ever achieved.
Yeah. I got a lot of trophies, a lot of medals, a lot of missing teeth and everything to, account for it all. But fun times, and definitely, I think I like to bring that perspective when I do write, as somebody that knows the game from playing the game, and it's just a little bit different from being a fan, and what you'll notice from being a fan rather than like me sitting in the goal for so many years watching, everybody else. So I think it's a little bit different niche than some other people got for sure, but.
That's why I like having Lance on here, because he does have that kind of perspective. He knows what it's like to be hunkered down there in the crease and watching that face off there at the dot. You know what I mean? And he knows that shot's coming. Yeah, okay, right? I mean, let's face it. And so and this is another great story too, I think, because Jamey convinced him and said, "Man, look, you should write." Right. And then the editor kind of helped convince him too to write.
Yeah.
Right. And so then he started writing, and oh my gosh. And then now he's credentialed with Flyers Nitty Gritty and things like that. And guys, we've made Bleacher Reports because of Flyers Nitty Gritty 11 weeks in a row because of being on Flyers Nitty Gritty.
That's awesome.
Yeah, dude. Every single time we release a podcast, Jamey puts it out on the site. Lance writes out the blurb and everything, and Jamey puts it out there for us. And it's part of the whole group of information that goes out there for the Flyers Nitty Gritty, And so I think convincing Lance to write was a good move.
Yeah, there's a difference. I mean, I can see it's not to put down anybody else's work, but there's a little bit of a TLC with these articles. There's a little bit of passion, born of experience when I read Lance. I might not always agree, and I've told him, but listen, that's what it's all about. And that's good. That gives you your own individual quality, and certainly I'm a big believer in that.
Okay. Well, let's go. Let's do this. Let's just roll with it, all right? So I'm going to start with Chef. We've played 2 games. The Flyers have played 2 games, right?
Yep.
So give me your 2 quick assessment points of the Flyers' first 2 games so far against the Penguins. 1,
they need to shorten up their D game a little bit. It's too wide open in the middle, in between the blue lines. I would say that that's the one thing that worries me. I know we got a lot of, we got new guys on the back end on the D, like Gustafsson, and I just think that if they can do that and lock that up and have a full. I mean, it seems to be the middle of the game where they're faltering. They come out strong. They finished very strong. I mean, the third period of both games, they kind of shut Pittsburgh down. I like that. I think that's awesome. That gives me hope that they can do it when they want to. It's that middle time. The middle period, the whole second period was a little loosey-goosey in maybe the last 5 of the first and the first 5 of the third in both games, actually. I just think that they need to shore up the defense there, and I think they'll be fine. I love the line combinations. I think they're awesome right now. Even when, Patrick looked good. That was my biggest concern. My other concern was Oscar Lindblom trying to fight last night. I was like, "What are you doing?" No. You just got back. So, but other than that, it just showed me right there how much heart that this team has. That they were getting run out all night. They took it. They didn't take any stupid penalties like they would. We've seen with this team in the past.
Yeah.
One of Isaiah's comments 2 years ago was this team was always yelling at the ref. They were whining. They got a reputation of being whiners around the league. Now they take that bad hit, they come back, they deliver a good hit, and then they score a goal. That's what we're seeing out of the first 2 games so far, that they're not doing those stupid retaliatory penalties that they so often got them in trouble and put them in a bad position before they got Carter Hart to bail them out, which he has done. And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, and then they won at the writer after the game. They saved that.
Ooh, yeah.
So that's who we're gonna. Yeah, you go. Right. So we're gonna go to the writer next, right? So, Mr. Extraordinaire, writer extraordinaire, give me your 2 big major points about the team so far this year. Our first 2 games against the Penguins. Yeah, we broke out the broom and everything like that. But give me your assessment of the first 2 games.
Sure. I could go on and on for sure, but just 2 points. I would say one would be depth. I like how they broke up the offensive lines and separated some players. Before Couturier went out, we definitely had a lot of depth. First line all the way through the 4th line. You didn't really need to hurry up and get any certain line off. They were all producing very well. I like the combinations that AV put together in such a short amount of time. Another point that I like the growth of Farabee. I really like his growth. He looks bigger, stronger, faster. All of those. He looks more patient when he has the puck on his stick. I love it. He had numerous chances to set people up, and they converted on it. He's actually getting to play with some players that can put the puck in the net, and it's rewarding for him for sure. And I think that's just boosting his confidence up even more to grow as a player. So those would be my 2 points if I had to make something.
Okay, awesome. All right, man. Isaiah, put them keen, multiple year experience eyes on the first 2 games of the Flyers. What you got for me?
Well, I heard it again. This is that phenomenon again, where you think something and then you hear somebody say it on the radio. So I was thinking to myself, and I heard the exact same thing this afternoon with Bundy. Chris Turian was on with Jason Martinez on 97.5.
Yeah.
And it seems like the process that the Flyers had going on in the bubble looks very similar to what we're seeing in the first 2 games. The difference is, even though they were outplayed in both scenarios, they have Carter Hart behind them. Their power plays a little better, and they have more depth in the lineup with a healthy Oscar Lindblom and Nolan Patrick. And that's making a difference. I don't know if I agree that what Jason said, that Nolan was the best player on the ice last night, but he was one of them. And it makes a difference, but their process is not one that's replicatable if they want to win. They have to shore up defensively, their coverages, and it's going to come back to bite them. And another thing, they really miss Matt Niskanen right now. That hard minute defenseman who calms things down in the D zone is a player they're going to have to trade for, in my humble opinion, somewhere during the season. And the level of what that player is, and I said this on our prior show, will depend upon the growth of Phil Myers and some of the other players in the lineup. But those hard minutes are something they haven't replaced, and we'll see how that goes. Let's enjoy the offense, but let's not, in the back of our minds, forget there's an issue here that's going to have to be addressed.
Couldn't agree with you more. I was texting back and forth with my buddy Jim Jackson, and he said it perfectly. He said Carter Hart saved our bacon. Okay, and you can't keep having Carter Hart be hanging out there like that all the time, making those kind of saves like that. Okay, now one of the things that I've noticed, and this is going to be one of my 2 points, is this. They're at least preventing teams from taking those point blank shots. Okay, like the Islanders were able to get muscled in, and were able to muscle in and get those point blank shots, right, on Carter Hart. So I think our defense has stepped up a little bit, and they're not allowing those point blank shots, and they're keeping the opposition to the perimeter more so.
A lot more offensive blocks out there, which I liked. A lot more bodies being thrown in front of the puck. So that's good in a sense, but I agree with the defensive breakdowns for sure.
Exactly. And you can't have that. We need Provorov needs to step into that, Niskanen type role where he can calm things down and be that particular person. Like, he's young. Okay, and that's a lot to put on his shoulders, even though he does play, considerable amount of minutes and things like that. So I'm with you guys on that. I agree that we definitely need to shore up the defense. Okay, on a positive note, I really like how the offense has come together. Even though we missed Coots for almost all the whole second game, it didn't even seem to matter much, really, as far as the offense was still there from all of the main characters. I like the fact that we're starting to see Giroux on the stat sheets. Okay, we haven't seen him pot a goal yet, but we're seeing him on the stat sheets, and he's playing well. Okay, and I like what as far as Nolan Patrick and Oscar Lindblom, I've said this from day one. It's almost like ad nauseum. I think these 2 players are going to be huge impact players for the Flyers going forward, and they have shown exactly that the first 2 games. So there you go. Now we got Buffalo's coming up, right? 2 games against Buffalo, right? But they're not coming until, so they get a couple of days off, right?
Yeah, Monday, Tuesday. Yeah.
Monday,
Tuesday, right. So we did hear a little bit of news here about Couturier, where he does have a bit of the shoulder now, or the rib separation or whatever. So he's going to potentially be out for anywhere from at least 2 to 4 weeks, maybe longer. We don't know, right? So I'm going to start with you, Lance. Who do you think is going to step in and take that role of Couturier? How do you think the Flyers are going to adjust?
Yeah, I mean, there's a number of ways they could do it. It depends on who they feel is, going to be held accountable up on that top line. I mean, do you move Giroux back to center? I don't think so. I think he's playing well at wing. Do you bump up a defensive center like Lawton and have him play some more minutes? He looked hungry. Do you bring in a young guy in Frost? I don't know. I don't think they have the faith in Frost, and I don't think he can be that good defensively, although he is okay defensively, but he looked like he was getting pushed around even in the team scrimmage a little bit to me. So I don't know if he's ready to take on a Couturier type role for sure. So I don't know where, the thoughts of AV's mind are going to be for sure, but I really don't know. I would lean on Lawton in my mind. I trust him defensively, and that's the same spot that Couturier is usually taken in. But I don't know if he's going to be able to take those top line minutes. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Chef, what do you think? Give me your assessment here. What do you think they're going to do here with Coots being out at least? I mean, look, 2 weeks in this season is going to be potentially quite a few games.
Yeah. Uh, my first inclining would be a lot of people were saying Morgan Frost, and as Lance had alluded to, defensively when he was up before, I noticed he looked like he was missing assignments his first couple games on the defensive end, and G had to come back, so and cover that in the defensive zone. So I would at this point I would not mess with G, Farabee, and Hayes at all. I don't know if I want to mess with Patrick and all that. I would put, in all seriousness, I put Lawton up on the first line as a center, and I would let Morgan Frost come in and play fourth line. There's a lot less pressure on it there. There won't be the score or anything. You just get his feet wet. He's been with the team. He's learning the systems. I like that part of it. And, I don't think he's physically mature enough yet. But, he can get his feet wet. And my whole point to this is, I can't believe everybody's caught up on the first line, second line, third line. That's too much money on this line, not enough money on it. It doesn't matter at this point in the season. We're playing hockey now, boys. We got to, when you get these situations, you got to roll with the punches. That's exactly what you need to do. I want somebody I know Lawton can come back and play defense. Like you said, he's hungry. I would be more comfortable with him going up against a top line of another team if that's the way it plays out. Then, because look, these first two games, they're still at home. So they're going to get that final line change.
Yeah.
I'm happy he's going to get a couple of games. So why throw him to the Wolves and put him with the top line, against Eichel, I think it would be like setting up for failure. So I just think, play it safe, put him on the fourth line and put Lawton up top.
I think Scotty too. I mean, he had career numbers last year.
Yeah,
let's not forget about that. In a shortened season, he had career high numbers and points. So he's coming on offensively. It's taken some time, but he is coming on offensively as well. So.
Agreed. So Isaiah, what do you think they're going to do here with Coots potentially going to be out for quite a number of games here? It's going to look like. What do you think? What's your reaction to this?
Well, it's back-to-backs. So it sets up a scenario where they could try Morgan Frost for one night. They could put Bonneman in the lineup, play fourth line center, and move up Lawton to third line center. So they have options. If you go by Bill Meltzer, he seems to allude to the fact that Morgan Frost might have a big opportunity here. Now, if you look at this type of injury, and Dan Silver, our running mate here, retweeted something from David Chow. He does a lot of NFL injuries and stuff. He said it's likely 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, that's what I saw too. Yeah,
he's getting rib block injections, which of course physicians routinely don't travel right now in the NHL, and with the pandemic, all the more. So I think it is possible after his best camp, maybe not. He still has the shortcomings that you guys alluded to. It might be a good time to slide him into the third line. I don't think I'd put him on a fourth line. I want him with skilled talent. That said, I wouldn't put him with Jake and JVR. So yeah, I think I would maybe slide Oscar down and do some different things there. So you could say it would be easier to just put Lawton in, Bonneman slides into Lawton's spot in the fourth line, and then you'd have more continuity. But if you want to see what Morgan Frost has, particularly if Couturier is going to be out for an extended period, be ready for a lot of different line shuffling.
Couldn't agree with you more. And I think it's going to be more predicated on who the team's playing. Okay. Like we're playing against Buffalo is going to be the next two back-to-back games. So that might be that perfect opportunity for Frost to slot in to that third line, and they can do a little bit of shuffling because look at what they did during the game with Coots being out already. You know what I mean? They did some shuffling around, and those lines played really, really well that they shuffled around. You know what I mean? Yeah. With moving Konechny around and things like that, and moving Farabee around and stuff like that. So I don't necessarily think that it's going to be a temporary situation. Hopefully, I mean, he's eventually Couturier is going to be back, so it's a temporary situation. I do agree though. I think it's going to be a better idea to put, if you're going to bring Frost in, put him on the third line so he does play with a little bit higher talent and gets a little bit more minutes and fourth line minutes. No, although I'm also on the same school of thought of Chef, because I do not look at the lines as being, if you're on the top line and then you go to the fourth line, I don't think that's a demotion. Okay, because if you're rolling 4 lines, each line has a role. Okay, and so maybe your role in that top line might be the sniper, you might be the gunner, you might be the playmaker, but you might have another role where you're on the fourth line and you might not get but 6, 7, 8 minutes a game. But that's your role. You know what I mean? And I don't look at it like that. I don't care how much money the guys on the top line are making. I don't care how much money the guys on the fourth line are making. Okay? If you guys are gelling as a team and you're able to roll 4 lines and you're putting the pucks in the net and you're doing the things responsibly, then I don't care what you're doing.
Well, I mean, I agree with that in theory, but the Flyers definitely have bellwether players. So
Yeah.
I think those guys are going to be featured. And right now, a real feature player, if Couturier is out, is going to be Nolan Patrick. He's going to get a lot more minutes along with Hayes. And so we want to keep it real, at least in that respect. I know where you're coming from. They could come at you like a machine, like they did back in their cup run in 2010, because that's what the opposing coaches used to say about that particular squad. But I do think that it would be a good time now, like you were talking about, to get a look at Morgan Frost, to see if he's viable as some kind of replacement and get some chemistry going. This injury is, if they bring him back too soon, isn't this always the way in hockey, where they bring a guy back, he needs to get shot up, he's okay, then he takes a hit and he's back. They don't want to do that. They don't want to yo-yo, and they want to find out what they have. So they might play it safe in the beginning and wait to get feedback on Coots' injury. But as this thing gets more extended, if that is the case, look for Morgan Frost to get an honest shot and a reasonable amount of minutes. Other than that, the AHL is going to be coming up real soon.
Yeah, I don't know. With Morgan Frost, I don't see the trust in him from AV like Bill Metzner's saying that's there. Obviously he has a lot closer ear than most to the team, writing for them especially, but I don't see it. I mean, you take it all the way back to last year. He was brought up and given a chance, and he played with Konechny and Giroux, and he didn't really do anything. He was set up for success. And I know it's another year removed now from last season, and he's
11
grown,
months.
hopefully. Yeah. I mean, it's been a while. So, but even at the trade deadline, when he was sent down, what did the team do? They went out and got 2 different centers in Derek Grant and Nate Thompson, because they could have just brought him up for some success there, but they chose to stay with Bunneman and then get those 2 guys at the trade deadline. And then even when Derek Grant was sucking it up in the playoffs and had absolute 0 goals throughout the whole playoffs, they didn't bring him in when he was right with the team in the bubble. So I don't know how much faith AV has in him right now. And he may have skated well during some drills and all, but he didn't really impress me. He wasn't one of the standouts in the inter-team scrimmage as well. I know that's one game, versus, whatever he's been doing all off season, but I don't see that jump that was there for, say, some of the other guys. Go ahead.
Yeah, but like Isaiah said, it's at the point where you need to see. You need to see what you got. And
I agree.
And this is the perfect opportunity here. These 2 games, I'm not saying they're the worst in the division, but they're at the lower tier of this division, and they need to see what they're going to get out of them.
Yeah.
And I think I don't think at any point are you looking at Bunny or Carson or whatever. This is what you really need to look at here. He needs to play these 2 games. I give Isaiah credit, because you want to know what you got, put him with some talent and see what happens. And then that's the way. Otherwise, I'm not saying he's a bust, but I think you really need to know where I guess, narrow down to exactly what stage he is in his development so that we're not wasting. So is it AHL time when they come by? Yeah. You're not going to be the 13th guy anymore. You got to go back down and get some more minutes because hanging around here, you just watching isn't doing them any good.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Me personally, and Steele can account for this, I was screaming for them to put him in the playoffs when, Grant was doing absolutely nothing. And I want to see him get that shot. But my point was, I don't know if AV has that same thought behind it. Again, it wasn't their guys' pick. It was left over from, Ron's. So I don't know. I want to see him. I want to see him succeed. I want to see him get a chance. We'll have to see who they go with for sure.
Yeah, if I just Bill did have an inside track, like you were saying. He's a writer for the team and all that. Now, this is what he put out there. He said, big opportunity upcoming from Morgan Frost. He had his best NHL camp to date. Stronger on pucks, kept his feet moving, went to right spots in the D zone. Needs to maintain those improvements and add back some of the offense. That's his strongest suit. So it sounds like the coaches were impressed in that regard. And I think him making the roster and not being on the taxi squad is a little indicator that he does have
trust is
elevated. A certain threshold of trust. And it makes me believe that he's going to get a shot, if not against Buffalo, very soon.
Yeah, we all think he's the most NHL ready of our prospects right now that we have in our stable, and it's the time now. He's been sitting on the bloody shelf now for almost a year. Okay, put the kid in the freaking game. Okay, what is the worst that could possibly happen? I mean, seriously, we got to see what this guy is going to be. We have to see if he's going to be anything. If he is going to be anything, then we can move him. If not, then he's going to stay with the team. You know what I mean? Because this is kind of where we have to get to at this point with this player. Because there's too many other guys. There's too much other depth on the team. And there's too many other guys knocking on the door that are going to be, next year are going to be like, okay, it's our time. But I do agree. I thought he looked good in the inter scrimmage game. I thought that he making the team this year as a step in the right direction for him. I definitely think we're going to see him against Buffalo at least.
And I definitely agree with Chef. I think it needs to happen before the AHL starts up. Get him his shot. If he falls flat on his face, send him back to Lehigh. And if he succeeds, then keep him with a team. I mean, it's that simple.
Yep.
Couldn't agree with you. Couldn't agree with you more on that one, man. I'll tell you what. So, all right, we've all seen it. We've all talked about it. He had a one little hiccup. Let's go with the goalie and see. Lance, what do you think about Carter Hart? Give me a quick little assessment about Mr. Hart and his play in the last two games.
Besides his need to just stay in the net, I mean, he's not Ron Hextall. He doesn't need to keep playing the puck. I think he's played well, just where he left off last season. He's doing all the right things. He's staying focused. I hope, he had a strong home season last year. I hope he can duplicate this on the road this year. And keep it going. I hope that the consistency, I wrote an article not too long ago on this, that he needs to take over the majority of the starts. He needs to be able to have his name in there with the Valeskis and the Carey Prices and all that for a Vezina, but he can only do that by playing the large majority of the starts. Play him on back-to-back nights. The kid's young, and that's how, if he's hot, ride that hot goaltender. Yeah. I always hated as a goaltender when I had a great couple games and then my coach says, hey, we're playing a lesser team. Why don't we give, him a start? I hated that because it took all my momentum out of it and my rhythm. It's hard to keep your angles sharp. It's hard to stay focused in practices. So I want to see him get those starts. I want to see him succeed.
There you go. Isaiah, what do you think about Carter Hart? First two games. I mean, aside from the little hiccup, that Lance pointed out, what do you think about, what's your assessment of his first two games so far?
Yeah, I mean, we tend to look at him and seek perfection. And obviously with the the goof with Crosby knocking down that pass. Playing the puck is not his fort just yet. He'll get there. Listen, he's the reason why they won both games. He made momentum saves. He gave up a couple that he probably liked to have back. But like a lot of people have said, it's when you make the saves a lot of time as much as what your numbers are, if not even more so. And the Flyers just haven't had that kind of goaltending. Right now they have it, and you should be very happy. And I look forward to a really good future with him. As far as this year, he's probably going to get about close to 40 games. And he's right now he's tracking to do very well. But everybody, you got to keep in mind, these guys didn't really have much of a training camp. They didn't have an exhibition games. They're playing shinny. That's spelled SHINNY out there. Pond hockey, shinny. And it's really loose out there. But by midway through the season, it's going to tighten up. And the goalie is only going to get better as he gets more action in this compact schedule. So I'm feeling really good about Carter Hart, and I'm not worried about the Flyers goaltending. And that's the first time we've been able to say that for a very, very long time.
Very, very long time. Chef, give me your assessment there of our man here. That's the main man between the pipes. I mean, saving our bacon.
4 words: game stealer, series stealer. And that's all you have to say. That's all. Okay. And he was the reason why we got past Montreal. He's the reason, he's the reason why it went to 7 games with the Islanders. Should have been knocked out in 4, in all reality. But that's it. That's it. That's all I need to say. I won't even say anymore. I'm done. Drew, drop the mic. Boom.
There you go. All right.
Ooh, that's an expensive mic. Never mind.
Ooh, yeah, don't do that. Yeah, wait, hold on. Drop the cheap one. Hold on. Where's the cheap one? Yeah, there you go. I'm really impressed with his maturity that it seems that he's gained in this between the last time I've seen him play and now. He just seems to have gained a little bit of maturity there. You know what I mean? So when I say that, and then he makes that gaffe, but that's an experience thing. Okay. Maturity doesn't necessarily equate to, experience per se, but I think his game has matured, but he's learning. He's still 22 years old. Okay. And this is the first time now where he's really, 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 this is okay. The team is putting the pressure. We're putting it on your back. This is it. Go. Okay. We're letting you take the reins like you did in your article, Lance. And you said it's time for him to take the reins. And I think that's exactly what the Flyers are doing right now this year, as they're allowing Carter Hart to take the reins and be the main man, pots and pans. There you go. That's what I think. Guys, I'm going to tell you what, this was an awesome show. I can't believe we got to talk to O B Puck. Are you kidding? What? The fact that you guys did 100 shows, man, that's congratulations on that. That's amazing. Love listening to you guys' stuff. Why don't you tell the folks how we can get in touch with you, how we can follow you, where we can get your shows, and how we can get all that great information. And we'll start with you, Chef, to the left. How can we follow you, and where can we get your stuff?
Well, you can follow me on Twitter, Chef to the left B, and Chef the letter left, the number 2 B, and then you can find me, Brendan Gillespie, on actually I think it's Chef to the left too, on Instagram too, and you can see my food pics out there too, and all that stuff I did over the years. And then Isaiah can give you all the other deeds.
There you go. All right. The man, Isaiah OMB.
Should I put a picture of the boiled hot dog I make occasionally?
Yes. Yes. We'll make sure we have a link to that.
It's organic.
Okay, yeah, we'll put a link down in the description there for that boiled hot dog.
Well, we
So
should,
how,
at least you boil it and not just stick it in the microwave. You know, at least
exactly. I'll
Yeah,
agree with
just
that.
popcorn with the microwave.
So how can we get a link to that popcorn? I mean that hot dog. I mean, how can we get a link to Isaiah from O&B? Where can we find you?
Well,
Where can we get all your stuff?
Yeah, if anybody wants to yell at me, I'm on Twitter at Isaiah ISAIAH_520 Isaiah. Don't forget the _520. And you can follow the podcast OMB Puck at OMB Puck at OMB Puck. And yeah, we're always posting stuff, and people seem to like it.
You got it for sure, man. We can't wait to. Well, we'll make sure we have all the links down in there. And really appreciate you guys hopping on here and joining us. Lance, the writer extraordinaire, the guardian of the blue paint turned writer. Tell us how we can find you, where we can get all your great information, and do you have any new stuff coming?
I do. I have a couple of ideas in mind, but just we'll leave it at that for now. I haven't really inked anything or typed anything up yet. That's tomorrow. But as always, you can find me on Twitter at LNGBASSIST. The number's 39, and you can catch all my articles on FlyersNittyGritty.com.
There you go. You have it right there, folks. I'm Steel Flyers. You can find me on Twitter at SteelFlyers52. You can check out all the great stuff from Lance with the Hockey Writers Inc. on SteelFlyers.com/link/Hockey Writers Inc. Also, we've joined Spreaker. So be looking forward to all the great stuff out there coming out on Spreaker, and all of the podcast or all of the great video shows will be turned into podcasts. You'll be able to check that out. Also, be looking forward to our new sponsor, CCC Resorts. They are a one-stop shop to take care of all of your pet needs. They do all the great things for your grooming, and they also have an indoor and an outdoor pool for your pets. Thanks for checking us out, man. We're the Hockey Writers Inc. Thanks to O&B Puck for joining us. Yeah, man. Appreciate it, guys. Thanks, guys. We'll take care. We'll see you guys on the other side. Thank you very much.
All right.
Take care.